Hey, my name's Andy, and today I'm going to show you the changes to The Man I Love, George and Ira Gershwin's classic, and this is one of my favourite jazz standards, and stay tuned to the end to hear why. You're going to get the chord shapes you need, we'll talk about the form, we'll talk about the chords and what's happening harmonically, try to get our heads around that, and we'll also talk about some typical variations. All the resources you see is available as PDFs on my website, jazzguitarwithandy.com. If you're new here, jazz guitar lessons every Wednesday and Saturday, so please consider hitting that subscribe button. Now let's get onto the chords. So here's my chart on the screen. Now this is your typical 32 bar form AABA. Now look at the start of the music, we are in the key of E flat major. What chords does that normally give us? Well, that would give us, let's just do it as sevenths for E's, it would give us, E flat major 7, F minor 7 chord 2, G minor 7 chord 3, A flat major 7 chord 4, B flat 7 chord 5, C minor 7 chord 6, D minor 7 flat 5 chord 7, and E flat major chord back to chord 1. So let's dive into that A section first. I've written it out with the first time and second time bar, so it's just got that slightly different ending there. Now any shapes that I'm using, if you're wondering what I'm using, you can get the PDF with the shapes in, again in the link in the description. This song is often played as a ballad, so like that. Or what you get in versions, you may hear people double the time, so like double time it, so like where effectively you get 2 bars on each chord. So if you're playing up tempo, that's kind of what you typically hear. So these are the chords I like to use. So here's that A section. So E flat 6, E flat 6 9 as I voiced it, to E flat minor 7, to B flat minor 7, to C7 sharp 5, down to a C7, so half a bar on each, F minor 7 flat 5, B flat 7, let me get this turn around, G minor 7, C7, F minor 7, B flat 7, back to E flat 6 9, so this is the second A section, E flat minor 7, B flat minor 7, C7 sharp 5, C7, F minor 7 flat 5, B flat 7, then we get a different turnaround because we're about to go to the B, we're going E flat, A flat 6, E flat, then a B on each, D7, G7 leads us to a C minor. So let's think about what's going on with this first section. So if I put the chart on the screen now, I've got it with Roman numerals on. Now the blue ones are in key and the red ones are out of key. Thinking back to earlier, when I did the chords in the key of E flat major 7, that's what I'm thinking here. I'm trying to relate that information to the chords. So we start out on an E flat chord. Now this could be voiced as just plain E flat 6. I'm used E flat 6 9 because I think it sounds nice for this tune. Later on you might hear people using E flat major 7. Bit of personal preference there, but I like songs from the swing era. I don't tend to use major 7 really. I use a 6 or a 6 9. It's kind of more stylistic in my opinion. What have we got going on in that A section? Where we got chord 1, and then straight away we get an out of key chord. So we've got E flat minor. So we go on major to minor. Now normally if we go major to minor, you do it with chord 4. So in this key that would be A flat, and you go A flat to A flat minor. But we're making chord 1 minor. I say it's unusual. There's plenty of songs which do it, like How High the Moon starts with that, Afternoon in Paris. Many songs do it. Anyway, that's major to minor of chord 1. Then we move to another out of key chord, B flat, which a B flat would be chord 5. It would be a dominant in this key, but we're going to B flat minor, so that's a 5M. I've listed that as 5 minor. And then the next chord's out of key. The 6th chord in the key of E flat is C minor 7, but we've got a C7 or a C7 sharp 5, which is, just think of it as an altered dominant chord really. So this is a secondary dominant, chord 6. I've called it 6 7 because of that, and it's a dominant of F, which is our next chord, although F minor 7 flat 5, so that leads nicely into that chord. And then chords often like to move in fourths. What's a fourth away? B flat 7, so that's like a minor 2 5 without going to the 1. And then we've got a turnaround, G minor 7, C7, F minor 7, B flat 7. So what's going on there? Well, G minor 7 is chord 3 in the key of E flat. C7, as we just saw a second ago, is out of key, secondary dominant, but G minor 7 to C7, I've listed that on there. That's chord 3 to 6 7 with the C7 being out of key, but you could just say that's a 2-5 in the key of F major as well, couldn't you? And then we go F minor 7, B flat 7, which is a 2-5 in the key of E flat, which takes us back to start the second A. Do the same thing, 1 to 1 minor, 5 minor, secondary dominant with C7, which leads us nicely to F, minor 7 flat 5, and the B flat 7 leads us back to resolve this time to the 1 chord. So we're going to go in the second time bar, we're going to go E flat 6 9, chord 4 A flat, E flat 6 9, then a quick D7, G7. Why we got D7 and G7 at the end there is because of the first chord of the B section is a C minor 7. Hopefully you know that the relative minor of E flat major is C minor. If you look on that circle of fifths, if I put it on the screen, you'll see those two. The inner circles, the relative minors, the outer circles, the majors. So those are the keys which are related to each other. So what this song has done, Gershwin's done here, or the Gershwins, I should say, is they've gone A sections in the relative major, or in the parent key if you like, E flat, and then moved to the B section for a relative minor, which is, I suppose it's not really a key change as such, but it's just, you know, going to a very different feel, which is what you get in this song, which is why I think so many people like playing over it, is because you get this A section and B section which is very contrasting, and you play to that when you're soloing over it. So the D7, after all my rambling then, the D7 can be described as a way to get to this. So what are they? Secondary dominants, D7 and G7. They're not dominants in the key of E flat, are they? B flat is. So again, dominants moving in fourths can help us get to where we need to. G7 is a dominant of C minor, so then we land on a C minor 7 at the start of the B section. So the B section, let me just play it through for you guys. Which takes us back to another A section. So what we need to think here, we need to change our thinking to C minor, to the relative minor. Now, if we did the same thing as earlier, put the 7 chords in that key, it gives us the following. Now, it would give us C minor 7, D minor 7 flat 5, E flat major 7, F minor 7, G minor 7, but in reality that becomes G7 as it's chord 5 and helps us go back to 1, A flat major 7, B flat 7, C minor 7. Looking at that, we see the blue chords. We've got the C minor 7 and the G7. So what we have here is we start on chord 1, da, 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 and the da, da, this D7 comes in, and I've called that 2-7, so it's out of key because it's just saw D minor 7 flat 5 should be the 2 chord. So we're going 2-7 to the 5 chord. So it's like a cycle 1, 2, 5, if you think. So we've got 1, 2, 5 with the 2 being out of key, back to 1, and then G7 where we get a whole bar on each chord. And one thing you might want to explore is being a ballad where you've got a whole bar on each chord there, you know, you can go through inversions, that sort of thing, just to make it a bit more interesting and to create some movement. Line 2 of the B section, C minor 7, so chord 1, 2, 7, G7, then we need to work back. So what we're going to do is we're going to go 1 and then make 1 a dominant, so a secondary dominant, C7, C7 goes to F as we saw in the A section, F minor 7 to B flat 7, which is a 2-5 in E flat, which enables us to go back. So that B section, I'll play it a bit quicker. So this is all about getting back to there. But that B section going to relative minor is brilliant, and if that's something you're not familiar with, if you want to learn about how songs move between relative major and relative minor, do check out my video about that. I'll put one in the description or on the end screen. Now, I did say earlier I include the variations which typically occur, and I find this mind-boggling, to be honest. When you look at chords, one person's sets of chords will be different to another. Listen to different versions and be like, oh, they sound a bit different, and it can be quite confusing. And I think it depends, you know, what era the song's recorded in, and I'll suggest some versions to listen to for you to listen out for this. But typical variations to the turnaround in the A section, so the G minor 7, C7, F minor 7, B flat 7. Some other things I like to do there, or you might hear there, is a descending minor chord. So go G minor, F sharp minor, F minor, B flat 7, which works quite well. Or put a tritone sub on the B flat 7 and play an E7, maybe an E7 sharp 9, you get this. Which is quite cool. Just falling so nicely. And then it falls again from E7 to E flat 6. That's a really nice move. Listen to an earlier version like Benny Goodman's and you'll get a typical turnaround. Instead of the G minor 7, you'll get E flat 6, 9, E diminished, F minor 7, B flat 7. And that E flat diminished could be made a C7 as well, like. Could also be C minor 7, like 1, 6, 2, 5. So some typical things there for that bit. The second time bar before the B section, I wrote E flat, A flat, E flat, D7, G7. But another thing you might see there is the minor 4 chord. So going like E flat 6, then A flat minor 6, and then E flat, and then what about this? A tritone sub for the D7 being an A flat 7, duh, duh. So that gives us E flat 6, A flat minor 6. 2 beats of E flat minor 6 and then a quick A flat 7, G7, and that A flat 7 is a tritone sub of the D7 and it just creates a nice chromatic fall into that G7, leading us into the C minor. Another thing some people like to treat the A section with is using inversions of the chords to get a descending bass. So you could get something like this: E flat with E flat in the bass, E flat with E flat still in the bass, then go to B flat minor but with the third in the bass, a D flat, then C7, so the bass is falling down, then F minor 7 flat 5 with B in the bass, then B flat in the 7, B flat in the bass, so we've gone, which is quite cool. You could even get the D flat in the bass for the E flat minor, so you could have E flat 6, then E flat minor 7 with D flat in the bass, B flat minor 7 with D flat in the bass, C7, so going down, and the F minor 7 flat 5 with B in the bass, then let's go to a B flat 30, then a B flat 7, that sounds nice, then we go to the E flat. So quite often some people like to arrange it like that. It's quite cool. Whenever you learn a new standard, I urge you to listen to lots of versions, listen to how people treat it, because it will all be slightly different, and some you'll love and some you might not get into so much. So these are the versions I would check out in relation to The Man I Love. I've made a note of some versions that I think you should check out. Now, Benny Goodman with Teddy Wilson, that's in 1938. That's a really slow version. It's really intense on that A section, amazing. Coleman Hawkins in 1943. The solo on that is ridiculous, and that's one where they play it more double time, sort of up tempo. Lester Young with Buddy Rich, 1946. Miles Davis, I think that's 1954 with Thelonious Monk. Oh, I love the way he treats the melody on that. And then another one I like is Art Pepper, 1957. So at the start of the lesson, I said this was my favourite jazz composition or one of my favourites. You know, it's hard to always pick one, isn't it? I flip between different songs, but this would be in my top 10 jazz standards. Why? I think the melody is incredible. It's so simple, the way it changes with the chords. I think the chord progression is really fascinating. It moves in interesting places, but for me it's that descending bass line that you can get with that. I'm a sucker for things like that. Anything with descending basses, I always just find those sort of movements really interesting, and I suppose some versions have just really resonated with me. One I missed earlier was Etta James as well, really bluesy version. Some good vocal versions with Ella as well, I'm sure I remember hearing. So I'd love to know what you guys think of this tune, and what is your favourite jazz ballad? What really resonates with you? Which ones really speak to you? Because those are obviously the songs you want to play, the ones that really do inspire you. All the stuff we're doing with kind of the harmony today, it all comes to being able to place your chords, knowing your chords in key. I've made plenty of videos on those sort of topics, so if you need to delve back through my videos in terms of how to place chords, how to understand harmony and those sort of things, it's really important that you work towards that rather than just playing the songs and playing the chords. You need to try to think, oh, okay, why does it go to that chord? Oh, it's because it wants to get to that chord. And essentially every chord is about trying to get somewhere. At some point things have to come to a close on the one chord, but you know, songs are always working their way somewhere. This particular song, you know, works its way to the relative minor and back to the relative major for, you know, for between B and A. But anyway, I'll see you guys next time. If you're new here, thank you for checking out my channel. Please consider subscribing for jazz guitar lessons every Wednesday and Saturday. Until next time, take care.